Today we experienced a bloodbath. Virtually all cryptos are down between 10 to 25%. As you can see on my right hand side, as I continue to scroll consistently, it doesn't matter what category or what narrative, you have some major players that are down 23%, 22%, 16%, 18%, and the list goes on. And just on the day, XRP dumped almost 19% and got bought right back up from 195 up to 223. And if you've been watching any of my videos, this is exactly the kind of dump or pullback that I was expecting. Here's a video from just a few days ago where I explained that candle. So if we start to break down and we don't get support there, then we'll continue breaking down. And again, I'd wait for a bullish engulfing candle somewhere in that range before buying that strength into the next major move up. And as you can see here on the chart, I circled exactly the point upon which we broke down. Now, the real question is, will we start to break back into a new all-time high range? Now, I'll answer that question here shortly. However, while all of this is happening, Bitcoin dominance gains against the market. And Bitcoin dominance simply means the total amount of money in Bitcoin versus everything else. Now, the reason Bitcoin dominance pumped pretty hard today is because there are more institutional hands holding Bitcoin. Put another way, when everything dumps hard, Bitcoin simply dumps less. And the reality is numbers don't lie. As you can see here in the same exact time frame and move, Bitcoin is only down 7%. So the question a lot of folks are currently asking is, did XRP already hit its local high for the year at $2.90? Was that rally its last exhaustion pump before dying off once again into mediocrity and boring price action? Or is right now the perfect time to buy? To phrase it another way, should you be selling now, or are those of you who were waiting for a pullback seeing that opportunity? Is this the opportunity to enter XRP at a discount? Well, in my 9 years of investing and trading crypto, I've seen moves like this before, and I'm pretty confident I know what happens next. So in this video, I'll dive into the price action on XRP and Bitcoin because Bitcoin moves the market, so we have a thorough understanding of what's really happening behind the scenes. And before I start the video, a quick disclaimer: everything I share in this video is just my opinion based on my experience. None of this is intended to be financial advice. This is for educational and informational purposes only. So with that said, let's dive into the video. And as always, if you're feeling blessed and bullish, comment 777. And if you're going to be the wealthiest person in your family tree, smash the subscribe button. Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Paul. You can find me on Twitter at PaulyDeFi. Now, in all fairness, if you've been investing in XRP, something like this is actually pretty scary, considering nobody likes watching their portfolio dump 20% in a matter of a few hours. That said, I've seen moves like this before. And if you remember, last week I was even mentioning how this local high with a big liquidation event like what happened right here on the Korea news could be the start of a new local intermediate term downtrend where you get a series of lower lows and lower highs. As you can see here, this low is lower than this low, this high is lower than this high. But at what point would we experience some range or level of support and a pullback to start entering the market again? Or better yet, is this the all-time high for the year? Well, first I think we should look at Bitcoin, and then we're going to pull up a few indicators. And then by the end of this video, or closer to the end of this video, I'm going to cover 3 other crypto investing opportunities that I think are pretty solid plays, considering virtually everything was down between 10 to 20+%. And the ones that performed really well or have a very strong narrative in that dump are probably the ones you want to be picking up at a discount alongside XRP. So if anything, these are kind of like little bonus plays. I'm not saying dump your whole basket at them, but I am saying they look like pretty solid opportunities. Okay, the reason I'm going to be looking at Bitcoin is because because Bitcoin typically gives us clues into what happens next with the crypto market. So that said, as you can see here, we have kind of a local resistance or some highs right here between 100,000 down to $99,500, because whenever we broke out above and arguably failed to continue to maintain that range, we started breaking down. On the flip side, we seem to have pretty strong support right down here at the $94,000 to $93,000 range. So if I just take some boxes and toss them in right there, as you can see here, this would be our resistance, this is our support, and anytime we touch this range on the lower side, we actually get some buy pressure. So if you really want to simplify this all, we are currently stuck in a range from $100,000 down to about $94,000. And this is where it pays to pay attention. We are going to go look at history, but sometimes it's important to say, when in doubt, zoom out. So as you can see here, I'm currently on the 4-hour time frame. Let's hop on over to that daily time frame. And as you can see, we are currently still trending pretty strong to the upside. Yes, we have failed to really break out above that $100,000 range, but if I pull up a 10 and 20 EMA, you can see here that we are still seeing support, and we have not seen a cross back over on the 10 and 20 EMA. We're actually being supported on that orange line for the 20 EMA. So just because we're getting some sort of sell pressure and something that really caused a lot of the markets to panic, I think these potentially provide really strong buy opportunities. And also, when you look at a move like this, it's really not that big of a deal. We saw far more volatility on December 5th than we're currently seeing on December 9th. And need I remind you that in previous major ranges of volatility in uptrends or a bull market, right here you can see that the market actually would dump sometimes 30 to 40% before making a new all-time high. So that said, if anything, this looks like the start of a new major bull trend and a bull move. And yes, you can expect some volatility along the way, which means it's more often than not better not to take on leverage. Because with leverage, you can easily get whipped out of the market. Your positions will be sold off and you no longer hold any crypto into the next major all-time high. And that's possibly the worst thing that could happen. So as you can see here, if I zoom out as well on the daily time frame with XRP, we simply touched back into that 20 EMA. And this is actually something that I talked about. And what I basically stated and mentioned was, I'm not going to just buy the first dump right here. More often than not, in a move like this, I've seen it happen over and over and over again. The market continues selling off just slightly into the range right here before seeing some level of support, if any, and then we need a bullish engulfing candle, something that looks like this right here. As you can see, this candle is now bigger than the prior candle right here. In similar fashion, notice how we had this range right here. This candle is a strong bullish engulfing candle to the prior candle, and that confirmed the breakout and the move to the upside. So in similar fashion, just because we got a breakdown into the range that I did predict on one of these videos in recent history, I'm not just going to be dumping my entire bag behind it. What I'm actually looking for is what did really well or performed better than the rest of the cryptos in this dump. If everything else dumped 20%, but the relative strength on, let's say, one crypto didn't dump that much, then chances are there are stronger hands and holders behind it. And those are the ones that I really want to get behind. XRP is obviously one of those cryptos that everyone on this channel is behind. So I am covering it, but I will share a few other cryptos with you that you might find quite interesting. We're going to be covering a crypto that is lower risk, higher market cap. Obviously, you're not going to see as crazy of gains with it, but it is a really safe play, I would say. Obviously, XRP is one of the safest plays in all of crypto. Maybe a small to mid cap, and then I'll do a very small cap crypto, very high risk, very high reward, but I think is a really good play based on some rumors and some things I've seen inside of the community. So I'm going to cover that here shortly. That said, as you can see here, this dump right here hasn't really pulled back to the upside. So again, I'm waiting for some sort of a bullish engulfing candle or support in this range before the next move to the upside. In other words, buying anywhere between $2 up to $2.20 is actually a pretty good buy. And if I were to pull back onto a 3-day time frame, I think my lowest zone of support that I would like to buy and just hold for a while without adding to my exposure would probably be down to 178. So I know I have a lot of lines right here, but realistically, I do expect some sort of a bounce here in the near future down to 199. And the reason for that is because we just saw on the futures market from an hourly time frame a mass liquidation event. Typically, when you get these really large spikes on liquidations or people that were bullish that got liquidated because the price moved against them, that is kind of a reset in the market with leverage, which is actually very healthy. And as you can see here, open interest or the amount of contracts in the market also dumped tremendously. So again, you need these types of resets in the market before a market is healthy to move back to the upside. So yes, although XRP is trying to maintain this line of support here at about 218, which is a price that we've talked about, we did dump down to about $2 to $1.96 depending on the exchange. And I actually expect the market to continue to dump just slightly while there's some accumulation, and you might want to look for some sort of a bullish divergence in the market on an RSI. However, again, I expect the market to kind of range here for a while before seeing some level of support and then a break to the upside. So I'm adding to my position here, but I am not doing it over the top. But I think this is a great opportunity for those of you guys who have been waiting for some sort of a pullback to start entering the market. And I would do that all the way down to $1.78 if we hit that range. Now, before I share any of those altcoin picks, if you haven't already, go to bullrunners.com. I'm going to make this very short and sweet. Guys, we are currently sitting at 847 members. If you've been watching any of our videos, we've told you over and over and over again how once we reach that 1,000 member mark, the bonuses will no longer be available to you. But also, it's currently $97 a month, as you can see here on the left-hand side of my head. And on January 1st, we will be raising the price to $197 per month. In other words, if you start now, you are locking in this rate. You will be grandfathered in at $97 a month. And so it is very much time sensitive. This is a 26-minute video that explains exactly what you get on the other side. But not only will we be sharing with you 10x, 50x, 100x altcoin picks, we'll be teaching you how to do technical analysis with pros. We are going to be doing live calls there and then with you so you can have all of your questions asked and answered. We have one of the strongest communities of seriously committed crypto individuals inside and on the other side that you can consistently talk with, build relationships with, and share altcoins with, and ultimately learn from. But if that's not enough for you, we also show you airdrop alerts, DeFi farms, and yields that you can take advantage of in all of crypto, where you can essentially put all of your crypto to work for you and earn on it versus just sitting on it in some exchange. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, and you also just want to take advantage of this offer now, then go to bullrunners.com. The link is in the description below. And now let's get back into the video. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now for the 3 crypto or altcoin plays that I think are good to accumulate and buy here in the near future. As you can see here, if you're on CoinMarketCap, there's a lot of cryptos that are down pretty heavy over the last 24 hours. Now, obviously, when you look at something like USDC or USDT, you're not going to see that much movement considering it's always typically around $1. But when you look at a lot of these other cryptos like Cardano or Tron or Avalanche or SHIB, you're looking at 17, 18, 20%. So the goal is to find cryptos that didn't dump as much, which indicates that there are strong institutional players either holding it or looking to accumulate it on dumps, which is why it didn't dump as hard. One of my first picks is going to be Sui. Now, this is a crypto that we've talked a lot about on the channel, but as you can see here in the last 24 hours, for a major market cap crypto and altcoin, it is actually down less than the majority of other cryptos, which signals and indicates relative strength, something that you want to typically buy into on a dump. Now, I don't want to spend too much time here because if you want to learn more about Sui, you can actually watch one of our Sui videos on the channel and why I explained it's such a good crypto to buy. That said, as you can see here, not only did we dump well below our previous all-time high right here at about 384, but now we're actually being supported above that 10 and 20 EMA with a long, strong wick and accumulation, and we're even being supported at the previous all-time high. So yes, what used to be a resistance is now a support. And this looks extremely bullish. No matter how you paint it, even though we failed to break above 427, this type of accumulation and its relative strength to the market makes it a very safe altcoin pick and a buy. And also the fact that it is currently in price discovery mode. Our previous all-time highs were at about $2.20 right down here. And we broke into a new range. We're being supported. The 10 EMA is above the 20 EMA and volume is consistently expanding. All of these are indicators that right now is a great time to accumulate something like SUI. And for pick number 2, which is slightly more risky than something like SUI, but still a pretty large crypto, and that is Ondo. Now, I'm not going to dive into what makes these cryptos so great. If you want, you can do your own homework by going over to CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko and then clicking on their website directly from the link right here. Instead, I'm just going to focus on price action and what recently happened and how it's showing relative strength relative to the entire market. In other words, while everything else looks weaker or dumps harder, these ones are also dumping just less hard. Maybe they're in a price discovery range or zone. Maybe their dump looks like 5% or 10% relative to everything else at 20%. Again, an indicator of strength. Now, over here on the right-hand side, you can see that I have Ondo under real world assets. RWA is a trending narrative. It's done very well already this cycle, and I believe it's going to continue to do well. And yes, Ondo is an RWA crypto. Again, as you can see here, we have growth in volume, and even with this major sell pressure or candle right here, it's still a declining sell candle. It also hit the 10 and 20 EMA and was supported. The 10 EMA is above the 20 EMA, and guess what? Yes, we are being supported at the previous all-time high. So you could say, well, this one looks a lot more expensive than the ones that have dumped pretty hard. But the reality is, if it's already doing better than the rest of the crypto market, I expect it to continue to do so throughout the rest of the bull run. So I could easily see this thing ranging into that $5, $6, $9, and sometimes even $20 range by the pico top of the bull market. But again, look, we went and broke out above the previous all-time high. Everything is looking bullish here. We're getting an expansion in growth in volume. We saw support at the 10 and 20 EMA, and the 10 EMA is above the 20. To me, extremely bullish. Now, I'm not saying all charts have to look like this. Again, sometimes you want to look for relative strength. So I'll give you one example that I recently saw. On the right-hand side, I have this gaming and NFT market sector. And right here, there's this Guild of Guardians one. Now, the reason I liked Guild of Guardians in particular is not because I know too much about their game. And in all fairness, the price action hasn't been too great over the last couple of months. But when you see a local bottom like this, and again, a fail to break down as hard as the rest of the market like it did right here. Notice how the rest of the market's breaking down pretty hard, while this one broke out into a new range right here, was supported above that 10 and 20 EMA. And yes, today we're dumping just slightly, but barely. As you can see here, we've had this bottom and what I would consider an inverse head and shoulders. To me, this truly looks like the whole market has officially sold out, and now we're painting a new trend with some increasing buy volume. And even though the volume over here is not really as large as it was back here, the fact that now we broke into a new range high right here and are being supported is very good. So yes, this thing is still in a downtrend and it doesn't look as strong as some of the other ones that I just showed you, but right here, as you can see here, support right here could easily take us right up to that 11-cent range. So sometimes you don't need it to be in price discovery zones in order for it to do well. Now, the final crypto I want to share and talk about is one I believe is actually going to do pretty well through the end of this bull run, considering it already is outperforming many cryptos in terms of percentage gains, but even from a relative strength standpoint, it looks really good. However, this is something that I would not recommend just dumping all of your capital into, because again, the smaller the market cap, typically the higher the risk, but on the flip side, the higher the reward. So it doesn't require that much money to make a boatload of money. That obviously comes with a disclaimer though. Virtually all crypto markets are risky, so you're You're in charge of making your own decision there. But it is a meme coin, and I do believe it has that meme ability. As you can see here, the name of it is Size. It's sitting at 0.001, and it has already outperformed a lot of other cryptos. What I actually like about this thing is it's sitting at a $2 million market cap. The current max supply is the circulating supply. So yes, the circulating supply is totally in the market right now. And before I dive into the price action on this thing, on the left-hand side over here, you can see that the top 10 holders obviously is the Radium liquidity pool, which is basically the supply that is available for trading. But then you actually have a bunch of random wallets that are sitting at about 2%, 2%, 2%, 1.6%. So it's not like all of the supply is sitting in one wallet ready to be dumped on your head. Now, again, that comes with a caveat. Just because a stupid amount of supply is not sitting in one wallet doesn't mean that someone can't decide to sell. That said, the token percentage that goes to the creator on this one is only sitting at about 2%. So that's a very small amount relative to a lot of other meme coins and cryptos. And that makes me feel pretty confident, comfortable, and safe. But personally, what I actually like about this crypto, again, before we dive into the price action, is its Twitter. When you look at meme coins that are sitting in that $2 million market cap, again, in order for you to 100x your money, and I'm not saying that's going to happen, this thing only needs to hit a $200 million market cap. The two cryptos that I just shared with you are obviously so much larger. They're already 10 times larger just on Ondo alone than a $200 million market cap. So it's a lot easier for something like this to hit, I don't know, a $50 million market cap than it is for Ondo to 50x your money. That said, they are consistent with their posts. Their community is strong. You can see they're posting 11 minutes ago, 50 minutes ago, an hour ago, 2 hours ago. They have really funny, solid memes and in different languages for strong communities. They're consistently getting traction and have a lot of history. And so that's something that makes me feel confident, comfortable, and safe even sharing this with you guys. But then I actually heard rumors that Manny Pacquiao would be behind this thing. Now, someone inside of their Telegram group chat did send this to me, and here is the image that the actual Sizecoin Instagram account posted to this meme with Manny Pacquiao. And right here, his Instagram account, which you're more than welcome to look up, reshared the post. So that said, if you don't know who Manny Pacquiao is, he's arguably one of the most well-known boxers in the world. Known as Pac-Man, he fought Floyd Mayweather. And so this type of traction, if true, and if they continue to post and get reshared, could pump the price of something like this to the moon. So I don't want to just see, hey, is something like this going to happen? I've also heard rumors that they're potentially working on some exchange listings, which will likely pump the price of a $2 million token, but they are also verified on things like CoinMarketCap. They're verified on CoinGecko. They're verified over on Bird Eye and Dex Screener. So the first thing that comes up when you type in Size is them, but also their price action looks really strong and they have a lot of history. If I go to a daily time frame, you can see here that the previous all-time high happened sometime in December of 2023. It's been over a year that this crypto has been in circulation and in the market. So typically, if creators or these bigger wallets wanted to sell and dump the entire thing, they likely would have already. As you can see here, it dumped all the way down here and then made this nice cup right here before breaking out for a new all-time high on some pretty strong and heavy volume. So honestly, any type of pullback like this on a day like this is a really good buy, considering it's pulling right back into these previous all-time high ranges over here. So right now, I'm accumulating a very small bag. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm recommending you do the same. However, I am pretty confident that if something like this didn't fail in the first year, it's extremely unlikely to fail this year as other cryptos make new all-time highs. Yes, I like these types of small risky plays because at the end of the day, I typically make more money on this than I do on an XRP. Now, obviously with an XRP bag, I'm holding so much of that yes, I can make a lot of money on it, but on something like this, the gains are far greater in terms of percentages. So what I'm looking for is I come down to that hourly time frame, and yes, we did get a lot of selling into today, obviously, but that's just natural market activity, which is why it's so important to pay attention to the volume. And as you can see here, the volume right here is so small relative to the buy volume. I think if anything, this is just a small pullback, which means my support ranges are going to be entry down to that 0.0015 range, and the low that I would like to buy is somewhere just at the 0.001. So anywhere between now and that present area is a really good range to buy, considering, again, you're looking at that previous all-time high. We're looking at a strong support. We just saw price discovery with some insane price action and volume, and more often than not with meme coins, right here you can see that we have a bit of a support. You'll break right below that previous range low for a bear trap, only to watch the market pull right back above that range and then put in a new high. Again, not saying that's going to happen. I'm not a fortune teller, but I've seen this happen too many times with meme coins because they're a lot more illiquid, which means they're easier to move for whales. So a breakdown like this, a support, and then a break right back into this range above this blue line at 0.0028 is going to be tremendous for something like size. So yes, right now they're not listed on exchanges. You can't just go buy it on any exchange. You have to actually do it in a DeFi manner. So for those of you guys who really don't know what you're doing, you can look up how to create a Solana or a Phantom wallet, and then how to buy meme coin on Solana, which is what I would recommend. But the majority of volume is traded on Radium, which is a very strong and safe DeFi exchange and liquidity provider. And the way that I typically do it is I just go to something like Bird Eye, I connect my wallet, and then once I connect my Phantom wallet, I just trade USDC or Solana for that token pair. So there you have it, folks. If you learned something new and you enjoyed the video and even some of those altcoins that I shared with you based on their relative strength and performance, you can learn how to do that for yourself by going to bullrunners.com. The link is in the description below. And on the other side, you'll find Altcoin Pro University. This is something that we worked really hard on over the last year to make sure that we bring the most potential value to people like you that are supporters and watch the channel if you're committed to becoming a crypto millionaire in the year 2025. This is the one-stop shop platform for you. We currently have 847 members, and once we reach 1,000 members, the bonuses will no longer be available. I mean, if you've been watching any of the videos over the last week, you can see how we've consistently been adding members. So yes, we are going to hit that 1,000 member mark probably this upcoming week. And that said, the price will also rise on January 1st. So if you've been thinking about getting access to this thing, we're going to be raising the price to $197 by January 1st. But if you get started before then, you are grandfathered in at that rate. You are locking that rate in for good. So you can watch the 26-minute video if you have any questions. And also on the other side, you're going to learn how to do technical analysis like a pro. We're going to be sharing altcoin picks like the ones that I just shared with you and why we think they're great picks. We're going to show you how to get access to the best DeFi yields and farms in all of crypto, so you can put your crypto to work for you versus just sitting on it and actually earn yield on it. And also we'll be giving airdrop alerts, and there's just hundreds of hours of classes from experts and professionals. So go to bullrunners.com. You can find the link in the description below. Thanks so much for watching the video. I look forward to seeing you on the other side, my friend. Goodbye.